rugged shores and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fishery. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around, my friend, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you all the beauty in the state of Michigan.
Hi there, come on in. Have you ever seen a bolt-action shotgun? Now, this was found 30 years ago and donated to the museum, which brings up the question, if you find something in the woods, can you claim it as your own? And for a topic you can really sink your teeth into or sink yourself into the teeth, taxidermist Tim Hayes will be wrestling with this muskie head. And speaking of opening one's mouth, Zachary has a follow-up on some controversial comments made by an outdoor politician in the Michigan Outdoor News. I'm Fred Trost. Stay tuned for the February 12th edition of the Practical Sportsman.
2 weeks ago, Fred's Sportsman in the Law segment highlighted the article in the January 23rd edition of the Michigan Outdoor News where the two new Natural Resource Commissioners, Jerry Hall and Mary Brown, were profiled. Nobody has said anything about Commissioner Hall, but the comments by Mary Brown stirred up quite a bee's nest among hunters.
Mary Brown is a retired state representative who was voted Conservationist of the Year by the Sierra Club. She says, I'm not a hunter, but I'm not opposed to hunting. We have to manage our resources for hunting, but we have to manage them for other reasons too. There may be areas that need to be closed to hunting for a period of time because of habitat issues. For instance, what damage is being done to the habitat when you drag a deer out of the woods?
We received several emails by sportsmen who were critical of this comment, but only one email from a person defending Ms. Brown.
Richard Till from Walled Lake complained that I misrepresented Mary Brown's comment because I did not include the method of which she was describing as being destructive. Was it not the use of four-wheeled vehicles that she was commenting on? Well, I don't know because nothing was said about ATVs in the Michigan Outdoor News article. But Mr. Till emailed Mary Brown and sent us her response, which was, in a conversation about environmental damage mitigation, I said that when siltation of fish spawning areas occurs, it might mean limiting uses in that area to allow recovery, including dragging out deer. And yes, I was envisioning the use of ATVs. Well, actually, the only land where a person can use an ATV to retrieve a deer would be on private land, because public land during deer season is closed to off-road traffic for all practical purposes. And banning ATV use on private property, well, man, that'd be a tough sell, if not unconstitutional.
And now we get to the current issue of the Michigan Outdoor News, and it has a follow-up interview by editor Bill Parker, who asked Mary Brown to explain her deer dragging comment. She said, every resource, whether it's deer walking through, us walking through, or an ATV using the resource, we need to manage them for all uses. We might simply not want anyone in an area, for instance, that has an erosion problem that's directly affecting a river or stream. On the subject of deer damage to farm crops, she says, you also have to look at agriculture in the area and decide what effect deer are having on those resources. Maybe there are areas where we can plant more browse on public land to lessen the impact on agriculture. On the subject of dove hunting in Michigan, she says, I would prefer that we hunt something that is big enough to use for something. They're pretty small targets. I'm not sure that if you get them with birdshot, that it's something you'd want to serve for Sunday dinner. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not real crazy about it. If the legislature decides we should have a dove season, the NRC will set the season. Then she added, turkeys are a lot bigger target. On hunter safety, maybe we should look at the hunter safety program and make sure it's working. I looked at it 10 years ago and thought they were heading in the right direction. And on the subject of CWD, she said, From what I know, and that's limited, I think we're on the right path. Earlier this week, there was a Senate confirmation hearing on Mary Brown's appointment to the Natural Resources Commission after we taped the show. I will report on the outcome next week. Well, you can find this story along with a lot more articles and commentary in the Michigan Outdoor News, which is available on the newsstand or by subscription.
When people are outdoors, they oftentimes run across things that appear to be lost. And they quote the old adage that says, finders keepers, losers weepers. But is that really the law? If you find something, can you claim it as yours? Well, we're going to spend a couple of shows on this issue. We're going to start with an 85-year-old gentleman from Dearborn Heights named Thurman Kearns, who found a shotgun many years ago that he wanted to donate to our museum. What's the story on this gun?
We were hunting pheasants up by Angerville, the other side there, and my friend lived up there. And hunted this field, and there's a big tree over at the end of it. Walked down back of that tree, and this gun leaned up against the tree. A box of shells laid there, so he took the shells, and I took the gun. So I never did shoot anything with it on any target, so it shoots good, though.
A bolt-action shotgun.
And two-shot bolt-action, 12-gauge.
Huh. And when was this? What year?
Oh, it's been 30 years ago, I guess. About 30 years ago, I imagine.
In the,
when I was still able to hunt pheasants and stuff.
Yeah, in the 60s or 70s?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
Don't remember the exact date, but I know it's been a long time.
So all you know is that this gun was leaning up against a tree, and in what county?
Up by Anchorville.
Anchorville?
Yeah.
So what did you figure the story was behind it?
Well, I think somebody probably hunting pheasants out of season, and they saw the conservation officer or somebody coming. So they just hid the gun and walked out like they was training with a dog or something, you know.
Huh.
I figured that's what I never did see anything in the paper who somebody wanted. Well, I didn't look too much, but I figured, you know, if I hear anybody was their gun, they could have it. But
this is an interesting situation. Now, did Thurman acquire ownership of this gun over time? Well, I'm not going to give you the answer this week, but I want you to think about the following questions. Is there a legal difference between property that a person sets down for a while in a public area and plans to pick up later, or property that a person misplaces and can't remember where the heck he put it? Or property that he loses because it falls off a trailer or somehow gets out of his control. Or property that another person steals and hides somewhere that you find. Or property that a person throws away and doesn't intend to pick up. Now, where does this gun fit in? And what does the law say about who owns it? We're going to talk about that next week.
Like a number of Michigan counties, the origin of the name of this week's featured county is not settled. This county lies in the northeastern corner of the Lower Peninsula, right here along Lake Huron. It's Alcona County, which might sound like an Indian name. Most historians agree it was named by Henry Schoolcraft, who was an Indian agent and foremost authority on Native American culture, but where he got the name Alcona is not certain. Some say he named it after an Indian word that meant the beautiful plains. Others say he made up a word, which he was known to do. He may have combined three Arabic words, al, which meant the, ko, which meant plain or prairie, and na, which meant excellent. Together they form a Henry Schoolcraft word he used to mean the excellent plain. Historical evidence shows that the Alcona County area was inhabited by Native Americans as far back as 9000 BC. Native Americans would camp on Lake Huron's shoreline near the Great Black Rock. They placed offerings in the hollowed-out surface of the rock to ensure a safe journey. French trappers and fishermen began settling in the area around 1845, and early industries included lumbering, fishing, and farming. A fishing station that was built in 1849 later became the headquarters for the Alger Smith & Company's lumbering firm. From 1876 to 1880, Alcona County was the largest pine timber producer in the world. The Alcona County seat is the city of Harrisville, located on the shores of Lake Huron at the junction of M72, which stretches from Empire on the Leelanau Peninsula through Traverse City and Grayling and ends at Harrisville. And US 23, which comes from the south and follows the shoreline along Lake Huron up to Mackinac. An interesting attraction in Alcona County is the Cedar Brook Trout Farm. It was established in the early 1950s as the first licensed, privately owned trout farm in Michigan. Cold water springs that percolate through the area provide perfect conditions for raising rainbow and brook trout. Being a private facility, no fishing licenses are needed, and tourists fish in both the brook and the rainbow trout ponds. Another attraction is the Sturgeon Point Lighthouse. It was built in 1869, but it still operates. Today, Alcona County's important industries are lumbering, farming, and of course, tourism. This side of the state is called the Sunrise Side. It's the only side of Michigan where you can see the sun come up over a Great Lake. With 30 miles of Great Lakes shoreline, one of Michigan's largest inland lakes, Hubbard Lake, and miles of excellent trout streams, including the famed AuSable River, Alcona County plays an important role in providing photos for our Fish and Game Hall of Fame. Tune in next time where we'll be featuring Emmett County on the next Fish and Game Hall of Fame.
Justin Hinges from Cedar Springs was hunting Kent County. Got this right at the beginning of the first turkey season last year. It's a 10.5-inch beard on this big gobbler. Wow, how old are you, Justin?
12. I was 12 at the time. I'm 13 now.
Oh, man, so it was your first year hunting turkeys?
Yes.
And who are these characters with you?
This is my brother, Jason. We're twins. Well, we don't really look at it like it now. He's older
Oh, you
than me.
don't?
No, not really. Sort of. And this is my dad.
Is he a twin too?
No. We have other twins in the family, but my
Really?
Dad, yeah. My dad was out there calling for us that day too. And we're all sitting on the same tree, facing different ways, and we got out there about 6 o'clock, and we were calling all morning to this one turkey, this pair, and then they kind of came close, but they didn't come close enough. But they'd call back, and then this other turkey came in and towards my side, and you couldn't even see any of his body, so it was a perfect shot. And I took it, and then my dad told me to run up there and step on his head, so I did. And it kind of flopped around, and it was getting me with this spear, so I took about a step and a half back and shot it again in the head.
Well, that's what you got to do, because those turkeys, that's really the only way to control them. Now, was Jason hunting too?
Yes, he was out there with us too. Unfortunately, he didn't get one that year, but I was the only one that got one.
Now, who are these other twins in the family?
They're Matt and Nick. They're in the Army right now. They're cousins.
Oh, cousins. So chances are you guys might have twins when you get
Right.
older. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah.
So you're the older twin?
Yes.
By how much?
2.5 hours.
Wow. That's a long stretch. Now, the guy behind this camera here, is also a twin. And how much older are you, John, than James?
About 3 minutes.
3 minutes. But if you knew James, you'd understand. He says, I'm coming, John. Oh, 2.5 hours. Well, that's something else. And, well, what else do you have for the story?
I don't know. I hope we got our turkey permits this year. Put in for them, but I'm not sure if we got them yet. And I just love hunting. I hope that we keep in it, and I know we will, but I want to. It's so much fun.
What do you love about it?
Like the feeling right when you're about ready to squeeze the trigger. It's really nerve-wracking the first time.
Now, what do you think about it, Jason?
It's just,
Same thing, like ditto?
yeah, it's just fun to be out there and just watch everything and watch the morning awake with all the birds and everything.
That's pretty cool. And you brought him into this, huh, Dad?
Yeah, we all had tags last year, so we were all hugging the same tree, and we knew they were roosting there, so we got out there while it was really dark, and they came flying down, but like you said, we were calling to the one Tom, and he was answering back. Finally, we got one coming from the other way, and he came running right up to Justin, and it was kind of nice.
Well, that's neat. Well, hope to see you guys at a future banquet. Congratulations, Justin, Jason, and Papa. The Hinges from Cedar Springs. Now, here's a pretty fish. This is a splake, a cross between a speckled trout or brook trout and lake trout. And it came from Little Bay to Knock up in Delta County. Jason Lancor, you came all the way from Escanaba?
Oh, yes, I did.
Well, you got something to brag about, too.
Oh, yeah, it's a pretty nice fish.
You got this on the 13th of April, which would make that just about a month from now, a year ago.
Yep. It was about ice out. About 12-foot icebergs floating around. Just zigzagging through them.
Really? Now, isn't that kind of dangerous?
Not really. Not if you know what you're doing.
I guess not if you're... How old are you?
I'm 25.
Yeah, young guy can handle that stuff. You got this at 6 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And what's the fun of fishing up there in the Yoop? You like this ice out stuff? You like ice fishing? You like summer fishing or what?
I do everything. Bear hunt, deer hunt, it don't matter.
A true Yooper.
You bet.
Well, very good. Jason Lancor likes it all and does very well. What is that for?
Help stop overspray.
Overspray. Oh, and you're doing darker colors or what?
When I'm doing the gills.
The gills, which are underneath there.
Right.
And there's a lot of different colors you have to use, even on a fish that doesn't look like a peacock.
Right. Some fish look like peacocks.
So what we have here is down in the mouth. Boy, those teeth on the top and the bottom. So that would come back up through the gills and get in the mouth then if you didn't block it.
Right.
Huh. It's beginning to look like a muskie though. How often do you nail your fingers and knuckles on those?
Every time my hand goes inside the mouth.
Okay, we're going up in here. Now, do those gills have any primer on them or anything now?
Yep. Sealer.
Sealer. But those are the actual gills?
That's what this customer wanted. I normally don't recommend it because I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they dry, and I certainly don't like the way they smell.
Now the smell, I've noticed still lingers on a fish like this when it's drying out. Does the sealer take care of it?
For the most part.
Oh boy, this is a sly way to get a plug in. Put your business cards there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is quite an operation. Again, because of overspray.
Right.
There they are. Well, I tell you, it looks good to me.
Couple spots need to go in there.
The work that goes into mounting a fish is incredible. Now, Tim Hayes doesn't look particularly happy because he's a perfectionist, and achieving perfection with this kind of detail is a tall order. We'll get a perfectionist perspective on mounting fish next week. Just because the ice fishing has been a little slow doesn't mean that you can't work on your fishing tackle to get ready for spring. You know that rod tip that you broke and that reel that needs repair? Well, you can work on your outdoor equipment indoors, you know. Have a good weekend, and Zachary and I will see you back here next week.